just when I think we are about to have another explosion in this powder keg that, we have built over the first half of the season, they just keep adding more gunpowder. And it's going to be such a big explosion that I don't know if we're going to be able to take it. Because, man, after this week's episode, whoo boy, it's gonna be something for sure. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel Strong from QuickTime Reactions, and we are back talking about Daredevil Born Again, Season 2, Episode 6, which is entitled Requiem. This episode was written by Devin Kleiger and Jesse Waguto. Waguto was the writer for last week's episode, and Angela Barnes once again returns to the director's chair. She also directed last week's episode. Vanessa Fisk is dead and buried. So Fisk is not necessarily in the best headspace right now. So his grip on New York may be tightening up a little bit. Meanwhile, Matt and Karen have to deal with the fact that Poindexter is in their custody. Matt obviously wanting to do one thing, Karen wanting to do the other thing, very much so. But they still have problems around the city to try and fix. But they do have help from a certain somebody now. So will they be able to try and fix New York's problems? Or will they get worse? We'll have to wait and see. So this episode starts out with a bang. Immediately, we open up on a house and a little child playing with all these little toys, and we see the mom, walk past. But then a car full of goons pulls up with guns, and this isn't gonna be good. Mom steps outside and she's dealing with them left, right, and center. Meanwhile, they throw in what I assume to be a grenade. And the kid's just, twirling it around, shaking it about. I'm just like, you want to, throw that grenade? You want to throw that grenade? I mean, I know who your mom is, and she's probably going to, handle this. But, can you just, throw it outside? But, of course, the mom comes back in, and lo and behold, it's Jessica Jones. Kristen Ritter, once again, reprising her role from the Netflix show that she had, as well as the Defenders crossover series. So she is back once again to play Jessica Jones. Meanwhile, this is something that runs throughout the episode. But Matt and Karen are in a bit of a debate because, Matt wants to keep Poindexter alive, and Karen vehemently wants to do the opposite thing because she has valid reasons as to why. Because, Poindexter killed Foggy. So, and, she's basically bringing up the idea of, if Fisk wasn't here, we wouldn't have these problems. Just cut the head off the snake. And Matt can't do that. Matt just can't do that. So that's a bit of a back and forth debate that they have. And the way that Charlie Cox and Deborahannwoll go about doing that argument is so good. Is so good. Meanwhile, back at the mayor's office, there's a couple things going on. It's Daniel's birthday, and BB wants to know if, Daniel's having any plans. But, Daniel not wanting to be in the mood about it, he's not really in the mood for it, and he's not going to have any plans. Well, besides the fact that, he may go to his mom's house in Staten Island. And BB's like, sure, why not? Buck pulls Daniel aside and says to him, the thing that we did out in the woods, bury the first mate's body in the woods in a shallow grave, that was just the price of admission, Bubba. There is more to be done. And, the life pays, but you need to pay to have that life. And so, what he is tasked by Buck is basically with BB, figure out if she's the mole. And the plan for him is to just feed her a BS headline, and see if it's regurgitated back. Because that would indicate that, yes, she's the mole. And so I'll pick up on that in a little bit. The other thing that I wanted to mention, Dr. Glenn going into Fisk and Vanessa's room, picking out a pair of Vanessa's earrings, and looking in the mirror, almost as if she is almost developing traits of a psychopath, almost like Muse, where, and even in the scene that she has with Buck, where Buck is just tell me what happened. And, she says that, the cut on the arm and choking her. And Buck's like, well, just recreate that on me. And she does that, and I swear she almost mimics, because they intermittently flash up Muse on the screen. It almost looked as though she mimicked the breathing pattern of Muse. So my assumption, if they continue this story thread into season 3, because we only have 2 episodes left, if we continue this story thread into season 3, dude, you need to watch out for Dr. Glenn, because she will go, I have a feeling she may go full psychopath in season 3, or heck, even the final 2 episodes. Who knows? So then, jump back. Daredevil reunites with Jessica Jones, and she tells him about the squad that came and went to her house with her daughter in the house, and dealing with it. But Matt, says, well, by the way you're breathing, it sounds like you might have a cracked rib. And, Jessica says, my powers, there's no rule book to this, but they've been going in and out. So she has what I'm going to call the Tobey Maguire syndrome from Spider-Man 2, where, her powers, are there and then they're gone. They're there and they're gone. Because in the warehouse fight, which, by the way, that warehouse fight, really good. She punched one dude in the jaw and she was like, ow. Meanwhile, earlier on, she, ripped a case top off of its hinges and used that as a shield. So yeah, she has intermittent powers as of right now. To jump back to the Daniel and BB story, before they even go on the ferry, Daniel feeds his line of BS saying, hey, from what I've heard, Mayor Fisk is not running for re-election. That's what I've heard. His heart's not in it ever since, Vanessa passed. He doesn't feel like doing it. And so when they get to his house in Staten Island, his mom's gushing about him, so on and so forth. When she goes to use the bathroom, she's about to send that information off, but then goes into his childhood room, sees all of his stuff, and stuff like that, and decides, yeah, I'm not gonna send it. So she didn't take the bait. However, Daniel is not that much of an idiot as I thought he was in episode 4, when he didn't ask about, Javi putting that SD card in BB's pocket, because what do you know? He looked in that pocket and found that SD card and questioned her about that SD card. So things are coming to a head in their relationship. And I have to say, Michael Gandolfini, he was resembling Fisk's movements, Vincent D'Onofrio's movements as Kingpin a little bit in some scenes. Like, I have a feeling he may become like Fisk Jr. at some point. Where do I want to go now? We get the second part of Matt and Karen's fight, and before that, Karen and Poindexter have a scene, and Poindexter's just basically goading Karen into pulling the trigger on that gun that she had, and to just kill him right there on the spot. But Matt is able to get in there in the nick of time to stop that from happening. And all while this is going on, Mr. Charles, earlier on in the episode, tried to go to the warehouse in Red Hook to get his weapons, but they weren't there. The task force went and got him. Hence why Daredevil and Jessica Jones went to that warehouse and destroyed it, so that all of it's gone. So, Mr. Charles ain't happy about that and decides to go straight to the governor's office and, basically rat out on Fisk and make sure that, he's not going to be in a position of power for much longer. And so, really, the big thing, a lot of big things happen, and I'm going to call this the City Hall sequence. So, Karen, Javi, and Angela are going to City Hall, where there's people paying respects to Vanessa, but also there's protests that are happening. And gosh, where have I seen, protests about, a dictator, like leader, that happen, and things turned way worse than they need to. Where have I seen that? Not anything anywhere recent. No, never. But Karen sets up the testimonial from everyone that Daredevil had rescued, and Fisk, seeing all this go down, the protests happening, learning that the AG office and the governor are going to be having a meeting tomorrow about, Fisk's involvement as mayor. This basically puts him in a death spiral. He goes to his season 1 hideout to sit in front of the bloodied rabbit in a snowstorm painting, and then of course Matt joins him, and they're chatting back and forth, and Matt just bluntly offers, what is it going to take for you to just stop, to just walk away from everything? And he proposes, you leave New York, I leave New York. Both sides of the scale completely clean. And Fisk isn't having any of it. And we get ourselves a Daredevil and Kingpin fight, which was really, really good, and it was really, really well shot. In the commotion that's going on at City Hall, Powell actually pulls Saunders aside. Saunders is the guy that Karen had actually kidnapped and was actually trying to be of help to the resistance. But, of course, Powell figured out, and Powell shot Saunders and made it seem like, oh, it was the protesters' fault, and now they're going to open fire on everybody, and, shit is really hitting the fan now. Meanwhile, back to the Daredevil and Kingpin fight, it's like they're going back and forth, back and forth. Daredevil, though, is seemingly the one that stands tall, and Fisk even looks at him and is like, what are you going to do? Arrest me? You're not going to do that. You're going to kill me? You're not going to do that. So what are you going to do? And Matt just simply walks away. Meanwhile, back at City Hall, lots of commotion is going on. Javi is thrown to the ground violently, and Karen is checking up on Javi, but someone snatched Karen's wig, and Karen sent Angela to go and get help for Javi. But yeah, once Karen felt the blood on the back of Javi's head, yeah, Javi is pretty much a dead man. And look who decides to walk up. It's only Officer Powell. And he immediately recognizes Karen. And that's where the episode ends. So my assumption is that Miss Karen is going to be fully detained by the anti-vigilante task force, and Matt is going to have to find some way to break Karen out, or Karen may just go full Rambo and just start killing task force members left, right, and center. Who knows? But what I do know is that these next 2 episodes, they're going to be wild. They're going to be absolutely wild. And I can't wait to watch them. But that is my review of Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 6. I'm absolutely loving this show. The tension is just, it's ratcheting up. It's ratcheting up for what I hope to be a very explosive finale. But I think that is going to be pretty much it for me on this one, guys. Be safe out there, and my assumption, my best bet is, just stay at home. Just stay at home. If you know that there might be some protests happening or, anything like that, just stay at home. Don't involve yourself in it. Just stay at home and you'll be fine. You'll be 100% fine. And I will catch you guys next time.